All right, we on? Have we been on?
No.
Okay, good. Hey, y'all didn't miss nothing. Okay, greetings and good evening. My name is Christy Henry. I am the volunteer president of the Greater Appalachia Ridge Neighborhood Association, and I am extremely honored to serve in the footsteps of those who have come before me. We welcome you all today to honor our outgoing and transitioning to at-large board member, former president, Mr. Perry L. West. Tonight is about honoring him. We also have some other honors that we hope to bestow if our neighbors arrive. Shawna gonna keep us on point with that. But we want to give an opportunity to really officially kick off the work of the Greater Apalachee Ridge Neighborhood Association. There's a lot going on, and we wanted to start this as a teaser just to share with you a little bit of what's about to happen, recognizing our partners, of course, city, county, organization, foundations, and just being able to be here with you. It's been, crazy with COVID. We have not been able to be together. So I will say this, I got my mask on. I'm gonna pull it up off and on. Our caterer who was hired to be here was COVID exposed and now it's COVID positive. So I got y'all pizza out there, all right? I was trying to get y'all some chicken cacciatore, but we're gonna get y'all on the next go round, all right? However, we are very pleased to be here. The Greater Appalachee Ridge neighborhood encompasses what we call the area 1002. It's Census Tract 1002 that borders 1001 on the left side, on the right side, and it borders another 3.0 something. I got a map to show y'all in a minute. On the other side. So we want to make sure that y'all know exactly what area we are speaking of when we talk about Census Tract 1002. We are here. This is Paul Russell Road. I think we might be somewhere over here. All right. So this is our census tract. We are adjoined to South City on this side, and on our back side, we're adjoined to an area of the neighborhood called Beacon Hill. We're also adjoined to Campbell Park, as it is across the street from J. Gaither, and that is encompassed by what they call Census Tract 3. I got the right one. 1804. Okay, and you can see right there that there's a lot of determinations here. We have to understand our geography so that we know what our work is. We should never presume what the work is until we understand the demography and the geography of the area that we're in. And those are big words to say the people in the place. All right. And so that's what we're focused on, making sure that we're representing in our work in 1002, our neighbors up there 1001, and our neighbors down here in 1804, which extends almost all the way to Tram Road. All right. I know y'all didn't come here for a geography lesson, but I think it's important that we understand people in place. The Greater Appalachia Ridge Estates Neighborhood Association was founded in 1997 by that group of determined leaders within our community who are galvanized and applied for the federal city neighborhood improvement plan program money. They were able to obtain federal and local dollars to go through a process of neighborhood planning, improvement, to which we will discuss very summarily tonight, but we'll get more in depth as we continue the work with our neighborhood association. So today is just about updating you on your community, the work we have ahead, and getting your consensus on how we move ahead, and encouraging and inspiring you to jump on board to assist us as we push forward and make a difference in the geography where we're located. Any questions? All right, so with that being said, I'd like to invite our esteemed District 3, Leon County Schools, District 3 School Board Representative and, current chair of the school board, Daryl E. Jones, up to give us an invocation.
So I'm glad that the name is greater. That means it's not just Appalachia Ridge. That means y'all can get 18.01, and I live right there in Wilson Green. So we're gonna make that circle real wide because I want to be a part of this. oft known to say I am deliciously proud to come and share today and grateful for your invitation. I'm also humbled that I'd be asked to provide the invocation with so many professionals, Reverend Otis Young and Reverend Gregory James and other Reverend clergy here. But in a moment like this, I have to acknowledge the person who we come to celebrate today, Mr. Perry West. As a health scientist, he will appreciate these words. It was Sir Isaac Newton who said that if I've seen further, it's because I stand squarely on the shoulders of giants. When I opted to run for this seat some 4 years ago, one of the first persons I reached out to was Mr. West. And I made it clear, and I think this bears saying, I made it clear, particularly in this political climate where there's such vitriol, I made it very clear I wasn't running against my predecessor, but that I was running for children. And so as we create a moment of worship, let us remember that it is for what we come together for. And that is to bless, enable, empower, and equip families that we might be able to educate and nurture our children for subsequent leadership and service in our community. Let us pray. Father God, we thank you for moments like this when we come together. You were very clear in Scripture that where 2 or 3 are gathered, you are in the midst of them. Help us to continue in that spirit of cooperation, guided by the presence of the Holy Spirit that then enables and equips us to a greater level of service. Remind us that greater is you that is in us than anything that we find in the world. Remind each and every one of us that we are called to be repairers of the breach. Now enable us that we might be able to let our light so shine that men might see our good works and glorify our Father that is in heaven. Yes. Remind us that all this work is indeed divine. You were clear in your scripture when you told us if your people who are called by your name would humble themselves, pray, seek your face, and turn from their wicked ways, then would you heal the land. Right now, we see a special prayer for our neighborhoods and our neighbors and the families and the homes that they represent. We say a special prayer for our children. Lord, we realize that the devil is walking to and fro. But right now, in the name of him who is our Redeemer, we say that the devil can't have our children. Lord, prepare families and parents to be able to pronounce boldly that for you they live and for you they die. Yes. For we are grateful for the gift of redemption. Now help us in our individual and our collective work to be repairers of the breach and defenders of the street. We pause in this moment to thank you for a man whom you clearly called, who sees this community work not as a job, but instead as ministry. Equip him and equip those who watch and share in this work with him. Equip us for a greater calling in you. Yes. We are reminded that you do not call the equipped. You equip those you have called. Yes. Now let us take up the full mantle of the responsibilities for the work that lie ahead. Remind us that we are divinely made and that we are the sons and daughters that you require in these days. Yes. Now bless everyone under the sound of my voice, and we are grateful to come to this place where the doors hang on hinges of welcome. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for being our God. Thank you for being our Redeemer. And thank you for being our Comforter. We pray this name in the name of him who gave his all for us. Amen.
Amen.
And keeping with that, I would like to, our believer Peck was here and he had a bit of a situation. So we are going to just stand, and Marcus, if you would lead us in a pledge of allegiance.
Sure. Let us all stand. Our flag is over here. Those who are able to. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now we will have follow-up words of inspiration from Pastor Otis Young, who is our property owner neighbor in Camp Park community, as well as stakeholder and proprietor of Kingdom Life Tabernacle and Kingdom Life Preparatory Academy right on the Orange Avenue. So we welcome you to give us words of inspiration.
Yeah.
All right, there is greatness in the room. Put that and say that one time. There's greatness in the room. I'm not talking about the physical room, but this room right here. There is greatness on the inside of you. As the man of God stated, greater is he that's within me than he that's within the world. So the greater one that lives on the inside causes me to do greater. His word says that greater works shall you do in his name. So I'm excited about the greater that you're going to do. He's done one thing, but the word of the Lord comes today, you're going to do greater. Hallelujah. Listen, I'm here to do words of inspiration. There are some people that can interrupt my schedule, and Christy Henry is one that can do that. Okay, we've got Bible study tonight. I switched my Bible study around because I've called her on a drop of a dime, and I said, Christy, I got a parent that's in Christ. I got a situation going on, and I've seen her stop everything to help a person in need. She make right connections. And then when I saw the name Perry West on the program, out of his faithfulness and servitude to my spiritual father, I call him Daddy McMillan, Bishop Howard McMillan. I said, I've got to be here tonight. So when you see me leave, I'm making a beeline to Bible study, but I had to be here tonight out of relationship. God moves generational and out of relationship. So can I prophesy and tell you that the favor is connecting you with the right people out of relationship? They're going to move on your behalf. You're going to be the exception to the rule. Hallelujah, because of connection. I see my good friend Gregory James back there. He could have done this, but tonight I was chosen. But he's got favorable connections. And if I don't ever say it, Pastor James, thank you, man, for all you do. All right. Listen, everybody shout perspective. If I could leave a word of inspiration tonight, it would be perspective. I could look at this bottle of Aquafina as half full, or my perspective on it could be half empty. I choose to look at it as half full, because if I look at it as half empty, I have a negative perspective about something that is really positive. Perspective is a particular attitude. Everybody say attitude. Yes. I'm an elementary educator by nature. That's my certification. My attitude determines my altitude. And so when I wake up with, this is the day that the Lord has made. I shall rejoice and be glad in it. Because my attitude, hallelujah, determines my altitude. It's a perspective. It's an attitude. Come on. I've got an attitude of gratitude. It's a way of regarding something, a point of view, okay? It's a point of view. And so what I've got to understand, I've got to keep a positive outlook in the midst of life challenges. I don't look like what I'm going through. I don't even look like what I'm dealing with. I'm smiling on the outside, but if you only knew what I'm dealing with at home, if you only knew what I'm dealing with in my current situation, but I've come to look at my financial challenges as not a burden, but God is really teaching me how to budget. Oh, come on. That is my perspective. Hallelujah. I look at my situation that it is not hopeless, it is not helpless, but it is a divine setup and an opportunity for a miracle. I've learned to look at my situation that when God allows it to go from bad to worse, he's allowing my testimony to be strengthened. Somebody shout perspective. Can I tell you, God is developing a skill set out of the struggle. He's developed a new skill set out of the struggle. I never learned how to cook, but I'm a baller on a budget right now until God send the increase. My perspective is key. The slogan that I live by is I'm excited about my future right now. Say that one time from I'm excited about my future right now. It does not matter what happened in the past. It does not matter what's going on in my present. My future is so bright that I need sunglasses in this hour. What is to come is better. What I'm dealing with right now is only temporary. And so there's two ways I've got to look at it. I'm fighting bifocals right now. They got to get me some new ones. I told them I don't want them with the lines. So when you see me go back and forth, I got to get a different set of lenses, okay? And so I want you to get a different set of lenses concerning what you went through in the past. If I had never gone through that bad breakup or that bad separation, I would never be in the place of entrepreneurship that I am right now. I would have still been loyal. Oh, man. Oh, come on. Thank you, Lord. So my perspective about what I went through is totally different. If I look at my situation, my past as being a victor and not a victim. God allowed me to go through what I went through to teach me to operate in the spirit of the victory. Come on. So that somebody else can see what I'm going through and they can model and help someone else. My situation of the past is in the past, forgetting those things which are behind me and reaching into those things which are before me. Can I tell you, I'm almost in the things of the past, people walking out of my life, man, I thought that was the worst thing ever. But can I tell you that sometimes some people walking out was the best thing that could have ever happened to me because I was headed for cross-contamination. Oh, man. Last two things. See your situation through the lens of faith. And the word of God. All things are working together for my good. Hallelujah. Nay, and all these things are more than a conqueror. See it through the lens of faith. If I see it through the lens of crisis, I will always stay in an emotional place and I will never experience victory. So I see my perspective is an opportunity through the lens of faith. And then lastly, I want to leave this with you. See yourself how God sees you. You're not a mistake. Okay, if daddy went there. Okay, if you were adopted, it's not a mistake. There's purpose over your life. You are who God says that you are. You're not your past.
Yes.
Come on, thank you, Lord.
Yes.
I'm an educator, and I was trained in Title I schools, trained by Barbara James. She's going on. Barbara Musgrave taught me at Bond Elementary. That's right. And they taught me never to look at a student in a negative way. From leader, that this needs to be true.
Okay, look at here.
I tell them in the ministry, we got some ex-drug dealers. You see them as drug dealers, but I see them as entrepreneurs and great evangelists. Because if they can sell drugs, they can sell weed, they can sell, they can sell Jesus. Oh, y'all, man. Oh, you just got to know how to flip it. I see it from a positive perspective. You see the end, but I see a chapter in the book called life. You see a negative situation. I see where God is teaching you something in the midst of it. Yeah. I'll say this and then I am done. I'm going to close these notes out. Don't see failure. See lesson learned and an opportunity how to go forth in greatness. I encourage you to keep a positive perspective. I love you and I'm excited about your future right now. Love you.
Amen.
Amen. I was gonna tell you we didn't have a plate to pass, but we'll catch up later.
I'm grab a piece of the truth.
All right, we'll grab two. One of each, three. One of each flavor. Listen, our community is going through a lot. We can't afford to come to a meeting and not leave empowered and inspired. So we thank everyone. The prayer, the words, even the pledge has been awesome. So I am going to turn this meeting over to our esteemed Vice President, Madam Shauna Smith, to take us through the agenda for today. And y'all give her a hand as she come up, y'all. 25 years. Y'all give her 25 years hand. She look good, though. Y'all feel. All right, girl. Come on up here.
Wow.
Madam.
What a lot to follow. What a lot of energy to follow.
Yes,
So,
ma'am. There you go.
first of all, I want to say welcome to everybody. How many of you, if you live in those areas, if you're my neighbors in this greater Appalachia Ridge neighborhood, raise your hand. We got neighbors that, yes, look at that. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We certainly appreciate others who came from different political offices and surrounding areas, and you're for coming out and supporting us, because we certainly are going to need you and welcome you. And thank you for coming out and helping us support our area as we kind of revitalize and get it all back together. So thank you, especially to my residents, because sometimes it's hard to get them out. So we really are thankful for that. And I want to encourage our residents especially to think, as we go through all the excitement of what we've got coming down the pipe, think of how you can get involved. Okay, think of what ways you think you can get on board with this train that's taking off to kind of revitalize our area. All right, so I am Shauna Smith, and I don't know about 25 years, but I have been doing it for a while. And thank goodness for Perry, as we've all been saying so far, because we'll talk more about Perry in a minute. So, but I'm asked to come up here today and talk a little bit and introduce some of our commissioners and so forth. And so I'd like to acknowledge our commissioner, Nick Maddox. Where are you? I saw you come in. All right, he's got a piece of paper with it. So thank you, Commissioner Maddox. Is Commissioner Proctor here? Okay, he's not here. Any other of our esteemed commissioners, city, county, city officials? We've got, let's see, I don't want to start naming names and forget folk. Who are we pointing to? Who?
School board.
Oh, a school board. Well, yeah, Daryl Jones is our school board. I thought that was who got us all fired up as he always does. I tell you, you remind me of my father because he can just come up here and bring it. He can just come, and no matter what the occasion, he can just get it energized and come with such eloquence. So thank you again for coming out. Do we have any other people to acknowledge that you can think of? Who do we have? Well, we've got, I can't, did that? Yeah, Corey Simon. Come on, raise your hand. What are you running for, Corey?
State Senate.
State Senate. Okay, thank you for coming out and supporting us. I see Mr. John Brown back there in the back, representing the community. All right, we certainly have our extension office staff that we are, well, thank you for allowing us to come up here and be up here, Mr. Boston, and plant the plant. He's amazing. He is an amazing plant guy. I've come up here with so many weeds, and I'm like, what the heck is this? Come and get it going. So yeah, thank you so much for allowing us to be up here. Let's see, is there any? Who is it? Katrina. Okay, and tell us your title, please. I apologize.
President and CEO of the Community Foundation of North Florida.
There you go. Look at that. All right. Well, thank you for coming. And Karen, Karen, tell us your capacity and how you're out here supporting us, please.
I'm the executive director of the Tallahassee Lenders.
You hear that? Okay. Ooh. Yes, and we're so glad to see Karen. She's had some challenges. Yes. Yes. Tell us your role, please.
Yes.
Okay, but my role is to let them know you're coming up. Thank you. Thank you.
John Baker.
Yeah, John, where are you? Where did you go? Oh, you moved back there. Okay, John Baker, who will come up in a few minutes. And is Leanne still here? Did she have to pull out? There's Leanne. Okay, Leanne's our person. Oh, Courtney, where are you? Tell them who you are. Come on, Courtney, stand up. Come on. Yes, yes. So, yes, thank you for coming out. Anybody else?
Stephanie Bowden.
Stephanie, where are you? Stephanie? Okay, tell us who you are.
I am Stephanie Bowden with Comcast.
Ooh, yes. Okay, so thank those of you for coming out, and let's see what else I'm supposed to do here. Let's see, anybody else? We are hopeful to acknowledge one of our neighbors who recently received the neighborly, I'm not sure, neighborless, or whatever award with the city, Mr. Octavio Miranda, for his efforts of trying to help beautify our entrances. But he's kind of not sure he might be able to make it. But if he does pop in, I hope he can, that we can present him with his award that was given, a couple of months ago back in, what was that? A couple of months ago with the big honoring, and he wasn't able to make that. So if he gets in here, we'll hopefully stop for a minute and appropriately give him his honor. So let's see, let's move on here. Now we're going to turn it over and we're going to hear from some of our host presenters here at the, how do you say, IFAS, that's what we call it. So he'll tell you what all of that means. Mr. Boston. While we have a pause, has everyone signed in some way, shape, or form on that sign in?
If I can make a quick announcement, at the Leon County School Board meeting on September 27th, we will be acknowledging Mr. Perry West for the great work that he does at the James S. Rickards High School,
Yes.
the flagship high school of the Leon County School District. What he has done to facilitate opportunities for young people who are majoring in the health sciences, he has now helped to create a collaborative relationship between his program and Tallahassee Memorial Hospital to prepare those young people upon their graduation. Not only will they receive their diploma, they'll also be certified in a variety of healthcare sciences to be prepared to go into the field of work. And that's been facilitated by him for years of this new partnership with our local flagship hospital, Tallahassee Memorial Hospital. He's made that possible, and we're going to acknowledge him on the 27th. Now I'm a master teacher.
Yes.
All right, good evening, everyone, and it's good to see all of you here. My name is Marcus Boston, and I am the County Extension Director as well as 4-H Extension Agent here at this facility. A lot of you probably have driven by this building and seen the word IFAS, some might say IFAS, and UF, and probably have no idea what that means, and I understand because I didn't either before I started working here. But we are an educational program here to help persons in the community to pretty much help your lives better. And how it works real quick is we're part of the University of Florida research program, in that, you know, any research done at a school does you no good unless you get the information to you. And so that's where the extension agents come in. We I always bring up an extension corps. We are an extension of the research that goes on at the University of Florida, because we're a land grant school, just like Florida A&M. Florida A&M is also a land grant school. And so we bring the information in a variety of different program areas to the community and teach in a wide array of areas. So you can take that information and hopefully improve whatever area that you need assistance with. And so the IFA stands for the Institute of Food and Agriculture Sciences. Okay, that's what it stands for. I wish we could put up a big sign and say, you know, family and nutrition, and we're gonna help you with your food, we'll help you with your youth, we can help you with your trees, your plants, but that sign will be so big nobody could see. So it's IFAS. And so I'm gonna just share just a couple of those slides because I have some of my faculty here with me. 4-H youth development, horticulture, anything dealing with plants, sustainable agriculture, community food system, family consumer science, and family nutrition program. And so those are pretty much the areas. I'm not going to go over that because that's a lot to read, but pretty much just a little bit about who works here. 4-H youth development, Allison Leo, she's actually no longer with us, but she was my other agent, 4-H agent. If you have young people that are interested in learning hands-on activities, and a lot of people still associate 4-H with just cows and pigs, okay? 4-H, while that was the foundation, it's much more than that. We actually have an open house this Saturday, and so all of our club leaders will be here talking about their clubs. We have an archery club, arts and crafts club, a horticulture club, a bike club, and go on and on. So the idea is that we recruit volunteers to lead these clubs, and parent adults spend time with young people in a non-traditional setting, and they learn and they have fun throughout the course of the year. Mark will come up in a minute and talk. Mark, why don't you come on up and say a few words about what you do? Mark is our horticulture agent, and if you have any question about any plant, grass, he's the man to call.
That's right, yeah. So, that's right. So I help folks. If you know, my job is to take that research from University of Florida, the science of gardening, and share it with people so that they're not killing things all the time, right? So, and to do it in a way that's environmentally friendly, right? So for the longest time, we focused on gardening just to make things pretty for us. And we realized that now, not just make it pretty for us, but let's help the bees, the butterflies, the birds, all that kind of stuff. And so I help you do that. So if you have questions on what you should be planting, again, why is this dead? What is this weed? How do I kill it? I even help answer questions about the bugs in the house too. So you come to us, I'll take pictures. If I don't know what it is, I have the whole University of Florida system and FAMU to help me figure it out. So I can take a picture under my microscope. I can send it out to my contacts and they'll say, oh, that's a blah, blah, blah. You need to do this, this, and this. And bam, I get that to the people to, again, help solve problems in your life. So any gardening questions, I can't answer them now. There's not enough time in the agenda, but we got cards. We're right here all the time. Come talk to us. Okay? I need a card. All right.
So,
I need to go get my card.
and we also, this is where you bring your soil test. All right, the soil is not actually tested here, but you come here, you get the kit, and we send it to the lab in Gainesville. So you find out what's in your soil. Why is your plant dying? It's not, you don't have a green thumb. It might be the soil. So maybe you can plant. All right, so analyze it, send it back. Then we have master garden volunteers that will say, hey, okay, let's talk about your results. This is what's going on in your soil. So all that's done here. Molly's our sustainable ag agent, extension agent, and community food systems, and she'll share a little bit about what she does.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, we do backyard gardening, composting, any type of those kind of questions you have. Come on down. Also work with the Leon County Office of Resource Stewardship to get garden grants. So for any type of community can apply for a garden grant, get to up to $1,000 as long as you have access to water and sunlight. I can come out, see that you have that, and then we can get you up to $1,000 for a garden. Also work with the Red Hill Small Farm Alliance and some of our small farmers in the area. We have the 7 Days of Local Delights and the farm tour that's coming up October 15th and 16th. That is put together by Millstone. And so anything to do with gardening, composting, or trying to get connected to your local farmers, you can come ask us here.
There's so much attention on food shortages. We just did a presentation on food waste.
Yeah.
And I'm sure many of you right now have food been sitting in your refrigerator. You don't know how long, there's no name on it, it's probably wrapped in foil or wrapped in something. Okay? And so there's so much we can do to prevent food waste, to take advantage of the food we do have. So those are some of the kind of programs that we also do. And Molly also spearheaded the Seed Library. I'm not sure anybody heard of the Seed Library. All right, Seed Library. You go to the library, check out a book, get a pack of seeds. All right, go home, plant your garden, and have fresh fruit, fresh food to eat.
We're still available. Some of the libraries might be running out of seeds, but we do it 2 times a year. So go on to any of the 7 libraries. You get 3 seed packets per month in your library.
Per month?
Yeah.
Until we run out, we'll start it up again in February. So August and February.
So take advantage. And this is about, that's one of the great things, when Christine mentioned she was having this, I said, yeah, because we want to share the information that's available. And we want you all to go and tell at least 3 people about what you hear tonight. Trevor Hilton, he's not here, but Trevor's our Florida A&M agent. I mentioned Florida A&M is a land grant school, and that's a whole nother lecture I won't go into. But in the state of Florida, you have 2, University of Florida and Florida A&M, and we work together. So Trevor is small farms, urban agriculture. Now, if you have any question about any fruit tree, this is the person you need to call. Okay, hands down. And he's not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm telling you. So if you got them pretty oranges and you see some stuff on there, and you might be thinking, oh, maybe, no, he might say, no, it's dead, chop it down, or whatever. But Trevor is very knowledgeable in gardening, as well as citrus trees. And all the citrus trees out front, he planted. And we use that as part of the training, teach how you prune and all that. So please give us a call and talk to Trevor.
Before you move away from planting and plants, there is the Capital City Garden Club right down the road on Zyla and Tran. They're having their plant sale and craft sale next weekend. So they're in the greater Appalachee Ridge area. Go
Right.
visit them next Saturday.
Right down the road, right down Zyla Street. Next Saturday, plant sale. Please go support them. Heidi Copeland, Family and Consumer Science. Heidi does sessions on all of those areas. Canning, which is like a lost art. Most people, young folks don't know what canning is unless they're drinking the soda out of the can. Sewing, house material, she does all that. Financial literacy. These are some of the kinds of programs that take place here at the office as well. Amy Mullins, also our family consumer science agent, and she specializes in programs in nutrition, wellness, chronic disease. You can't eat everything, especially as we get older. Some of that fried chicken starts to mess with you. And so we have programs to help people learn, dealing with different illnesses or health conditions, what you should eat, not what you want to eat. Daryl, but what you should eat. That's my buddy over there. Family nutrition program. We have one of our staff here, Cassidy Brown. Cassidy, come on up. And Cassidy just started working with us, and share with everyone what you.
Hi, I'm Cassidy. I'm the newest nutrition educator with the Family Nutrition Program, and we mainly work with families who are SNAP eligible or families who are limited resource, and we try and bring them to access nutrition education, physical activity education.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
So that's pretty much so. Please utilize the services we have here. You know where we are. You know what I stand for. It should be a quiz. Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences. Right. So when you drive by, you can tell, like I said, tell 3 people. And, go in there and learn something, find out. A lot of the events are on our Eventbrite. If you type in, let's see, Molly, go to Eventbrite and type in Leon County. It'll come up. Like it, and then every program come up, it'll automatically give you a notification.
Oh yeah,
Facebook,
Twitter, Instagram, all that.
Yeah. Hours are 8 to 5, but oftentimes we're here on Saturdays. Whatever the program or whatever we have going on. But normally we're here 8 to 5. And anytime you could walk out and look at the garden, plants. Okay, it's a lot of things. We're gonna have a bat house out there. There's chickens. It is a bat house. Some of y'all laughing. There's an actual bat house in the garden.
There's about 300 female bats living in those bats.
Right.
Only the females hang out with that.
And if somebody could come up with one of the things that bats do while they're out there, then we might have a prize. We give you a free pencil or something.
Okay.
So what are some of the benefits of bats? So I'm gonna pull up, shake them.
All right.
All right, thank y'all very much.
Any questions as Shinkton comes up? Any more questions?
I do have a question, Marcus. Ms. Foster, do you all still have your chicken chain, your chicken, how to raise chicken program?
We do. We have a master gardener kind of providing leadership with that now, but that is what the chickens, what Ms. Shawn is talking about. We have several hens out there. The idea was that young people who don't have chickens have an opportunity to help raise them, feed them, care for them, and then show them at a particular show, learn how to show the chickens, contest. And so they're still there. So if there are youth interested, that is an option as well. So like I said, this Saturday is open house.
Well, we have a captive audience. November is, what happens in November right down the street?
Thanksgiving.
So enter in your canned goods, the biggest, whatever, I don't know, pumpkin, I don't even know what you're pumpkin, but anyway, enter in your baked goods.
Right.
There's lots of competitions. You can actually win money.
Yeah, especially for the young folks. Please get involved in 4-H so you can enter items and, have your stuff on display.
Good evening again, neighbors. Shington Lammy again. I've been told I need to stand at the mic because there's people online watching this, Marcus.
Oh,
So they didn't hear
sorry.
nothing you said.
She ain't tell me that.
They hear none of it, yeah. But good evening. Now I'm surprised. I thought they were going to ask me and Marcus to come up first because we knew the most important information that you should know tonight. That's where the restrooms are.
That's right.
So just in
Nobody
case anybody want, nobody asked, so I'm assuming you're all right. But if you're not, just let you know if you go straight out this hallway and then you make a right before you get to the exit, the doors will be to your right. So just wanted to throw that out there just in case anybody was interested. But again, good evening, Shington Lammy. I'm the director for Leon County's Office of Human Services and Community Partnerships. And we're also in this building too. Not as long as Co-op Extension's been here. We've been here going on about 2 years now because we used to be over at Railroad Avenue. For those who are familiar, but now, they've got like construction going on over there right now because they're doing renovations. And that's where our tourism division will be moving into. So we are here permanently. And I think it's perfect that we're here with Co-op Extension because there's a lot of stuff, things that we do that I think really complement what they're doing. And I'm really excited to have Appalachia, the neighbors here because of the fact that one of the things me and Marcus just talked about a couple weeks ago about the importance of really being more, outward facing. So that way the neighbors around the community knows what's going on in this building. It's critical that they do because there's this commitment we've made to better engage our communities. That's the only way we can empower our communities is to engage them so they know what's going on. So it starts tonight. So thank you again. So I'll start by talking about what we do on our end. So Co-op Extension is on this side of the building, and we're over here on this side of the building. And so I'll talk about who we are, just department, and then I'll talk about which divisions that falls under my department, what we do, and some of the program services that we provide here in the building too. I think that's important. So that way you all know, especially if you got folks that may need services that we provide, that they know they can come here to our buildings or go to our website. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. All right, so who we are. So the Office of Human Services Community Partnership consists of 3 divisions. We're the housing services here, health and human services, and veteran services. Again, we got that real long title, Human Services and Community Partnerships as the name of it. But the most critical part of the long name or long title of our department is community partnerships because a lot of the things that we do it through investment with working with partners here in our community. So we just want to make sure that you're aware of that. There are some things that direct service that we provide out of this building, but a lot of the stuff we do is because we invest and work in partnership with the city and a lot of the programs and agencies that you see here in our community. So, but I'll start with housing services. So what we do in housing services, our goal, the county's goal, is to build and increase the stock of affordable housing here in our community. That's what we want to do. Because as you probably, if you haven't heard, housing is expensive and affordable housing has clearly become harder and harder for folks in this time and age. And so we work very closely with some of our partners in the community to address those needs. But what we do here in our office is that we assist those who are low income with rehabbing their homes. So the first thing you see up here when we talk about housing rehab is ensuring that we preserve home ownership and affordable housing. So we assist with roof repairs. We're helping folks with, redoing their kitchen to make it more accessible, the bathrooms, things that is critical. I'm glad to see Karen Miller here with Tallahassee Business Consortium because they're a partner of ours that help us with our down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. For low income, that's a service that we provide here in our community. Now, just to share with you though, with home housing rehab, emergency housing repair, and down payment assistance, as well as a home buyer counseling program, those programs we primarily do it unincorporated Leon County because the city has similar programs as us, but we work very, very closely with them. So that way, whatever our requirements are, their requirements are the same. So that way people don't have to try to figure out, oh, well, since I live in the county, I have to do this. Or if I live in the city, I have to do this. No, we want to make sure that it's all flows in a streamlined process that anybody needs to go through for any of these programs. But if someone ever needs assistance, they already don't own their home. If they own their home and they need help with doing something, a ramp that they need to put because of the fact that, they may, they want to, age in place in their home. That's something that we're very closely with providing unincorporated Leon County, but we also work with the city and Ability First to also provide that resource too. So please, that's something I just want to make sure everyone's aware of, because our goal, of course, is really looking to see an opportunity in which we can preserve the housing that we already have now as far as for affordable housing. Another thing that's critical is our partnership with the city of Tallahassee and everything that we've been doing, increasing the stock. So you've got preservation and then you got trying to increase. When we talk about preservation, when we talk about increase, we're very closely with the city because we do want to see more development within our urban areas, right? And so most of our urban area is within the city limits. So we work with them and partner with them to fund program investments into multi-housing developments, like for example, Orange Avenue Apartments. We just recently closed on that property with the Tallahassee Housing Authority for that redevelopment. The county provided $1 million for that phase of the program. We're very excited to see, and now they're actually turning dirt. I'm excited, to see that's going to be, there's actually going to be increasing the number of affordable housing, right? Because right now, all they had before the recent demolition, it was just 200 units of public housing, and the goal is to build that. There's going to be about 360 units of affordable housing. So that's something very exciting that we're seeing coming to our community, and we work in partnership with the city to do that. Another thing, community land trust. That's something again working with the Tallahassee Lenders Consortium. So what that is an opportunity in which we're looking to build again more affordable housing for both apartments as well as home ownership. And that opportunity is growing where we're providing actual land that the county owns to our partners at TLC into the community land trust. So that way we can then turn around and keep those homes, build homes on that property. But another big thing though is make sure that those houses remain affordable in perpetuity. I mean forever. So no matter what happens in the area, the neighborhood, and hopefully the neighborhood will grow, that home will remain affordable, and it will be affordable for the next family that needs to that's within that same income range who's looking for a home. I think that's critical. That's something we just me and Karen, we got an opportunity to go last week to go to the big housing coalition conference, and that's what everybody's talking about around the state, about how do you preserve affordable housing, and that's critical, especially in times like this with inflation. So that's something that we're working very closely with. And the most recent thing that the county just did, approved by the board just this summer, is the fact that we're working with an interlocal agreement with the city to, again, continue to build more housing, more both new homes as well as multifamily. That's what we got to do, because the only way that we're going to be able to address this issue long-term is to continue to look at building more. That's critical, very, very critical. So that's housing services. Other thing I want to share with you is Health and Human Services. Now, there's quite a bit of things that we got going on here. There's things that we do that we fund and provide mandatory programs for because they're mandated by state that we have to do. Then there's things that we do in partnership with some of our health and human service providers, and then of course some direct services that we do in the area specific for emergency housing. So for those mandated stuff, so what I mean when you see mandatory human service programs, these are all the programs because all counties are technically an extension of the state. We are a political subdivision of the state. So when the state says you have to do it, then we have to do it, and they don't give us any money to do it. So we call these unfunded mandates that they do. Okay, we have to do it. Unfunded mandates that we have to do. So when they come up here in March and say, okay, we need to do this, and then we're going to do it, they're like, well, let's make sure the counties do it, but we're not going to give them any money for it. And so that's been our world. So for example, Medicaid, we pay a portion of Medicaid. Okay, that's $3 million off rip. I just got to write a check. They don't send me nothing. They just send me a bill, $3 million to write. Yes. And then I cross my finger and wait to see what they're going to do the next year, because then they can decide where it's going to be another amount. And so there's a portion for us to pay. HIPAA is a program in which that if somebody goes to Shands or goes to Jackson Memorial down in Miami, or Shands in Jacksonville, and they're resident of Leon County, and they cannot pay for their bill, but they incurred bills down at Shands or Miami Jackson or anywhere else within the state, and they can't afford it, we have to pay it. When I say we, because you're all Leon County residents, we have to pay it. Okay, so that's another thing. Then Baker and Marchman Act. You all may be familiar with Baker and Marchman Act when someone is in mental health crisis and then they have to be Baker acted or Marchman Act. We pay a portion of that to Apalachee Center. That's a resource. Again, these are required statutorily. Is it important? Absolutely. We really do believe that's a critical part of our community to have that resource. But we have to do it anyway, even if we didn't think so, because that's state mandated. It is your burial. So someone dies, the family can't afford to bury them, we bury them. Not back here in the quarters, but somewhere else. Yeah, we don't compost. No, we do not compost them. No, we're not. That's not what we're doing.
Give it back.
So there's that. And then, of course, we got child protection exams. If in a situation a child may have been abused, there's examination requirements. We pay for that. Medical examiner's office for examining all those coroners and examinations. We pay for those. That's in the county, as well as we actually, if you all know, the medical examiner's office is actually housed in Leon County near the jail, but it serves more than Leon County. That building, which the county owns, pays the bills, pays the light bills, well, there's no mortgage on it, but yeah, that building, it also is the building that is used by Wakulla. It's used by Jefferson County, Madison County, Lafayette, Liberty. So those counties around, also when that person passes away and an examination has to be done, it's brought to the medical examiner building here in Leon County, which we, Leon County residents, again, fund. And of course, our health departments. Our facilities at the health department are county owned, and we fund those light bills, maintain those buildings. Okay. Again, none of this is covered by the state. These are funded by the taxpayers and the citizens of Leon County that we work closely with partners with. Now, of course, there are those things that we do that are discretionary, but we also know is important to addressing the need in our community, especially some of the basic needs. So the Community Human Services Partnership, or CHSP, is the primary way in which we fund human services here in our community. So when you hear of us funding like Big Brothers Big Sisters, Habitat for Humanity, Capital Medical Society, who runs the ReCare, that's primarily through CHSP. We and the city do that every year. Right now, we're actually putting $2 million into CHSP, the county. City also puts in money for a total of just over $5 million. And the reason that this is critical is that we know that there are needs in our community, and it's important that we work with our partners to provide it. We do not need to reinvent the wheel, okay? They're the ones with the boots on the ground, right? Our partners, the ones I just named, they're the ones with the youth counselors. They're the ones putting shots in arms. They're the ones who are, taking blood pressures and things like that. Those partners are critical to the things that the need in our community. And so we invest in them. We invest in their program because we know that's where the need is. What we're committed to do, and that's both for CHSP as well as the primary healthcare program, which primary healthcare program specifically is where we contract with Bond Community Health Center and Apalachee and a neighborhood medical center to provide primary care. What's important about these programs is that we know the need is out there, but the thing that we have to do a better job at, which we're committed to, and this is part of it starting like tonight, is letting the community know about them. That's the thing. They got to know that these things exist. We had some dinners, which you can probably tell now because they were delicious. But anyway, they were great in the spring. And basically what it was our food insecurity. We went into the 10 neighborhoods with the highest food insecurity rates. Okay, we're talking about Bond. We went to Providence. We went to into
Frenchtown.
South City, Frenchtown, and we talked to the neighbors about, what's the root cause of food insecurity. Of course, they said poverty. And they were like, well, poverty, we need to be able to address some of the needs in the community. We need this, we need more information about transportation. I'm like, well, we got that. We've been investing in that in the last 15 years. We don't know about it. Oh, but we need more things regarding these youth programs. Oh, we have that. Like, we don't know about it. And it became clear to me, we do a great job in getting that information and trying to make sure that Commissioner Maddox is aware of all of my agenda items. But the thing that's critical is ensuring that the neighbors, the community knows about them. Because once they know about them, that's how you can start making change. But also, when you raise the awareness, you raise access. And so that's something we're committed to doing and doing better in these more enhanced efforts of engagement. That's the only way that people are going to know, is for us to continue to do this. And so that's one of the commitments we've made as we're going into this new fiscal year about assisting folks, okay? The last thing I want to share is, of course, direct services. So how many people know about Leon Cares? No? Just you? Okay. And then, so Leon Cares is basically the program and where we were assisting folks these last couple of years now with their past due rent, their utilities, their mortgage. At times, there was a time we were helping with mortgages. And when people needed assistance, we were active. This was back when we were still on Railroad Avenue. They were coming to our office and we would assist them with the application and providing assistance with their rent and past due utilities and things like that. That program was highly successful. Over $20 million spent in assisting individuals here in our community, households that were in greater need, in dire need due to the pandemic. And so that's something we're proud of. That's something that, hopefully we cross our fingers. We've requested more dollars at the federal level that would continue because the need is great. The need continues great. Our phones continue to be called. People still come into our office looking for assistance, and we're here looking to assist them. Now, the other program we have is our Direct Emergency Assistance Program, or DEEP. With DEEP, this is a program that's funded here locally. So it's not funded by the state or the feds. This is something that is funded by the county because we know it's a critical need in our community. And what that does is it also helps people with their past due rent and utilities. We've exhausted our dollars for the current fiscal year, but guess what? Our new fiscal year starts in like 3 weeks, October 1. That's right. And so that means we'll have more money once the board approves the budget. So that way we can assist people who need assistance with their past due rent, their past due mortgage, their past due utilities. And what they do is, of course, they can go online, but they can always come here to this office and get help with that. Okay, so lots going on in this building. So I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of that. And please share that information with your neighbors or, family, friends, cousins that you may know that may be struggling. If there's a way we can figure out where they don't have to struggle, that's what we're here for. Okay. Now, really quick, veteran services is the other division that we have here. Do I have veterans in here? Any veterans? Is it veterans? Okay. All right. Thank you for your service. Now, with our veterans, we assist veterans here in our office, especially when they need to file claims, because our veterans have fought for our country, and so they have several benefits, both at the local level, state, and federal, that they deserve, and a lot of times they don't know how to access. So we have 2 counselors here in our building which assist them with that. We do that every day, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and getting them and assist them in filing their claims. The other thing that we also do is we have our Veterans Emergency Assistance Program, VEEP. So this is the veteran version of DEEP that I just talked about, right? And it's the same thing, helping veterans with their past due rent, their utilities. We'll help them with a bus pass if they need to get down to the VA if they need to get to an appointment down there in Gainesville. So we're here to assist them with an emergency. We also have our Veteran Resource Center right here in the building. So right tucked away is an area where they can come in, and if they need to call the VA and make a call to check on their claim status, there's a room where they can do that. If they need to apply for a job, things like that, we have a room with computers, a phone, internet, so that they can utilize. The other thing, of course, is we provide them free Star Metro bus pass in partnership with the city when they need it, especially when they're trying to get around. And then, and so if a veteran needs to, they just come here to our office and we get them, we we get the application completed so that way we can get them a free bus pass. And then annually, every year, as part of Veterans Day, we do Operation Thank You Veterans Day breakfast in recognition of all our veterans, both who, as well as our active military, and that's done over at the American Legion every year on Veterans Day, November 11th. So that's in a nutshell of what we got going on here. So as Marcus says, when you're driving by this building, just know there's a lot going on. So I just wanted to share that. If there's any questions, I'm more than happy to answer. But again, welcome. Thank you for being here. Okay. And please don't be a stranger because this is your building too. And we are your neighbors. Okay.
I just want to say congratulations. Last week when we went to the Florida Housing Coalition Conference, Leon County was one of 6 counties that won an award for how they use their rental assistance program. And I was so proud.
Yes, let me ask you this.
Mhm.
With the veterans program, and I think you said, you made mention of the fact that a lot of information is within our. How well known is that in our veterans program?
So with the veterans program, we work very closely with the different veterans service organizations. So like American Legion, VFW, Vietnam Veterans Administration. Our veteran service counselors participate in like the commanders meeting they hold like every other week and getting the word out. There's more to be done though. That's something that's been shared even when we met with Mr. Washington Sanchez about how do we kind of get the word out about the resources. One of the things I don't have up here that we also fund as a partner is the Operation Stand Down, right? And so every year we fund Operation Stand Down. We also participate in it and trying to get the word out. But we're always open with new ideas. That's what's critical. How can we better engage the community? Are there some options or ideas that we haven't thought of? Because I don't think any idea is a bad idea. I think it's very, very important. Like one of the cool things I saw when we were doing the emergency rental assistance program was we worked with some partners in our community. And they're like, you need to go to the payday loan places. You need to put them out there because they're going out there because they're trying to pay their rent and their utilities. I was like, okay. So we funded a street team to go in front of the payday loan places and let people know, hey, you don't have to come in here. I'm not trying to take nobody's business, but still, you don't have to go in there. We can find a way. We were going to laundromats. I mean, that was critical. Looking at different ways and appropriate ways we think that makes sense to get the word out about our programs. That's it. Okay.
So listen. Our MC returns. They're not going anywhere. You good? Okay. Okay. They're not going anywhere. They are here, and they are here for us, and they are a neighbor. So I think it's really, really important for us to know all of the information that they've shared with us today. And definitely, sorry y'all online, it's important for y'all to know all the information that they've shared today. And so with that being said, they are going to be here in the evening. As we continue through the evening, please pull at them and continue your conversations from there. So I would like to now bring up, and we're going to really embarrass him because he don't really like nobody to be, giving him stuff. But we're just going to embarrass Mr. West. So Perry West, if you would just come on up. Come on up. Come on up here. All right. Let me get the right screen going. So first up, I'm going to invite John Baker, Leanne Watts-Williams up to give your first presentation and installment of embarrassment. Y'all, he deserve all this, all right? Come on, step on up to the Marte Facebook, all right? Step on up to the screen. Let me give them enough space so they can come. Please, everyone speak in the microphone.
Thank you, Madam President.
I had to come. I really had to come. The year 2000, I was hired by the city of Tallahassee to work as the city's first neighborhood planner. And there was an interview team, and there was a citizen representative on that team. Guess who that was? Mr. Perry West. And from there, we've developed a friendship and appreciation, not just him, but his wife and family, and the Appalachia Ridge neighborhood. As I drove over here this afternoon, I reminisce on that interview. Perry asked me the final question. Do you remember it? If I could be a tree, what tree would I be? Very profound. And I remember my answer. I told him I'd want to be a fruit tree so that people could feed off of it. And over the years, I got to work with Appalachia Ridge as the first neighborhood to go through the city's neighborhood Renaissance program. And out of it, so many improvements came to the Appalachia Ridge neighborhood, the tech center, and working with communities. Sometimes you go into a community, you think you know what the community needs. And when we go through the effort, I'm trying to figure what is Appalachia Ridge number one issue? They said flooding. And so a whole new stormwater pond was built for them. And they got rallied around the fence. Many of you who are not in Tallahassee, you passed by the community back in 2000, the late 90s. There was a wall, it was broken down. And they're thinking, this does not represent us. They wanted the fence to represent the families that live behind, the people that live behind. And Shinton, working with the county, we were able to tear that wall down and build a wall that's there today. So this is lots of good memory coming back to see Perry. And once I heard that this was about Perry, I told Leanne I had to come. And so on behalf of Neighborhood Affairs, I'm going to do this one. Leanne will do the one from the mayor. This is a certificate of appreciation for your work. You, for 2 years, I worked with them to develop their neighborhood plan. And at one point in time, and I still think I know people who live on every street in Appalachia Ridge. I could pass down. I said, this is Miss Catherine's house. This is Perry's house. This is Joyce's house. This is Tanya's house. I knew where they lived, where every speed bump was. And so that's sort of a love that I have for each community that I work with across the city. And in fact, Leanne and us work together. I want my neighborhood services coordinator to get to know their community. You know, tell me about every turn. You go around this turn and so on. So Perry, you taught me quite a lot about service and about people, and I appreciate you. You know, when we first started, people would say, I saw your brother. And guess who they were talking to? They were talking Perry. So we're still brothers. Still have to take them to Jamaica, right? Still have to take them to Jamaica. But Perry, the deputy city manager couldn't be here, the manager couldn't be here, but we wanted to stop, recognize your service to this community. You're just such an inspiration to young people. Darryl talk about your service, but you're just an awesome guy. Not even to mention your service in the church and your dedication to your pastor. We really appreciate you. So this is in behalf and recognition of your dedicated service as president of the Greater Appalachia Ridge Neighborhood Estate. And I keep telling folks about you when they complain about being a neighborhood president. I said, when I started in 2000, Perry was the president. Go check. So love you, man. Thank you for your contribution to Appalachia Ridge and the Greater Tallahassee and to all the youths that you've impacted.
So Mr. Perry, John Baker has said more than enough and really encompassed everything. He had to. So I won't belabor anything, but I just want to share the proclamation from the mayor's office and read it briefly before we present it to you for all of your tireless contributions to the Greater Apalachee Ridge Neighborhood Association and the broader Tallahassee community. You know, you and your family are very near and dear to my family, and just your tenure here in Greater Appalachee Ridge just speaks to the amazing person and leader that you are. So thank you for everything. And the proclamation reads, whereas from 1997 until 2022, Elder West has served as president of the Apalachee Ridge Estates Neighborhood Association. And whereas the Apalachee Ridge Estates Neighborhood participated in a federally funded neighborhood improvement plan process in which Elder West would convene residents and government partners to ensure a citizen-driven, consensus-derived plan for the community. And whereas for 25 years, Elder West would continue to serve as a conduit for neighborhood improvements, a citizen resource as president, a mentor for our children as an educator at Rickers High School, and as a spiritual leader for neighbors as a ministering elder of Faith Family Christian Center. And whereas on June 13, 2022, Elder West officially transitioned from the position of president of the Greater Appalachee Ridge Estates to an at-large member of the executive board. And whereas his leadership has truly made an impact on the Appalachee Ridge Estates neighborhood that will always be remembered. And on behalf of our mayor, now therefore I, John Daly, mayor of the city of Tallahassee, do recognize Elder Perry L. West for his faithful stewardship and commitment as a model citizen within the Appalachee Ridge Estates neighborhood and the city of Tallahassee. Thank you. Thank you.
We need to get the photo, the obligatory photo.
Okay.
And he not done yet, but get that photo right.
Uh-oh, sorry.
Where are we?
Why don't y'all come out, right? Come out a little bit. Come in front. Yeah, it's gonna swallow all the air.
Is this better?
Come over here. Brittany,
This way?
Everybody take
Okay.
where you want to be at,
Is
Brittany?
this
Good?
I'll be on the side of you. And John on the other side. So this is probably better? This way, John.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You gotta get out the way of the PowerPoint. Now you got it.
Oh.
John, a quick question for you, go with Terry, because he's like one of the longest serving neighborhood presidents in the city.
Yes, when presidents start to complain, I tell them about
I mean, so, yeah.
No, this embarrassment continues. So, of course, now that we've had our great grand city recognition, we'd like to bring up Commissioner Nick Maddox of the Leon County Board of County Commissioners to also grant a proclamation on behalf of the county to our esteemed President Emeritus here.
Thank you. How's everybody doing this evening? I won't read the proclamation because it was very much like the city's proclamation, but I will start with the words of how many of you know that you don't have to be an elected official to be a public servant? Elder West has been doing it for a long time now without the title of commissioner, mayor, or anything else, simply as neighborhood association chairman and president. Do you know how much time and effort that you have to put in? And to give even more perspective to it, when I was 16 years old in Kannapolis, North Carolina, trying to win the state championship in 1997, Elder West was a man taking over as chairman of a neighborhood association, changing the changing what that neighborhood was going to look like forever and ever, and putting in the work to make sure the neighborhood got what it needed. Now I stand before you in 2022 as a county commissioner in a whole different state with 3 kids. And finally, after years and years of productive work, Elder West is passing the mantle. That is something to be proud of the work he was able to do. An example of a public servant he was able to show, not just me, but other young people here in Leon County. Nobody said it better than, in my opinion, than Jim Collins. He said, "For in the end, it's impossible to have a great life unless it is a meaningful life. It is very difficult to have a meaningful life without meaningful work." Just a couple weeks ago, I visited Elder West's church, and I sat there quietly and watched as they honored his pastor. And what I noticed Elder West running around doing his thing. Always busy, never sitting still, even in church, working. And what I hope that is that in this moment that we honor a man of that stature, that what we take from it is not just all the achievements that he's done over the past 20 some odd years, but the way he's done it. And we pass that message on to our children to say that the way to become someone special to your community is through the work you do in your community. It's not through the things you say. It's not through the people who recognize you. It's not through the things that you claim you did, but actually the work that you did. And last but not least, the thing I can say I appreciate most about Elder West is that if you asked him today what he did for that neighborhood, he probably couldn't tell you one thing he did. Because he didn't do it to remember what he did. He did it because it needed to be done. Elder West, I said I wasn't going to read the proclamation because honestly, those words on this piece of paper don't come close to exemplifying what you meant to the Appalachia Ridge community. And I ask that as you step down, whoever's taking over as chairman next, I hate for you to have somebody who's been on 20 plus years as an at-large member. Nobody respects you, I'm sorry. Everybody's gonna look at this man to see what he says. But anyway, but as you continue to serve, I know your work is not done here. And that you'll continue to push hard and you continue to ask for the things that represent what you represented over the years for the neighborhood. And hold us accountable as your governments to make sure that we don't just say things, that we in fact do exactly what you did, is do things in the neighborhood to make it effective. Yes, sir. Congratulations on your year served, and I look forward to meeting you. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Get that photo.
Put it down right there. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
So, I mean, he's gonna close out the meeting officially as his official drop the gavel. So you can either give your remarks right now in regards to the embarrassment you suffered, or you can sit down and think about it and then come back later and close out with your words and thoughts. Okay, all right, okay. So, listen, giveaway time. Hold up, let's break it up before we get into the neighborhood conversation because we got a lot of exciting announcements to make and some requests. All right. First of all, who can remember what IFAS stands for? Whoever can remember that, I don't think that's gonna reach. Miss Karen, if you don't mind bringing us that Amazon. Courtesy of Comcast Lift, and I'd like to have Miss Stephanie Bowden to come up here with me if you're available. Courtesy of Comcast Lift, we have an Amazon Fire. Yes, a reader here that will be given away to the person who can remember what IFAS means. No cheating. No cheating. Okay, you just gotta blurt it out. You can't. Okay. What you said? Is that right? Is that right? Okay, we're gonna have Miss Stephanie give you this prize, courtesy of Comcast Lift and NBC Universal. This is our treasurer, so he used to, knowing things that bring value to his life.
I always wondered what that meant. So when he finally said it, because I've been here before. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So we have a lot of great things, and then we're going to close out by definitely making sure that we acknowledge our great partners and funders that are here today. I want to give an opportunity for our the City of Tallahassee, Leon County Representative, Leon County Schools, Daryl Jones, school board member and chair, that he announced that they're going to do a special presentation to an acknowledgement of Perry West at the upcoming school board meeting. And of course, Karen Miller, if you would like to come up and give some words of encouragement and appreciation. You're not done, sir. I'm sorry.
Dr. King talks about not everyone can be famous, but everyone can be great. And greatness is determined by service. And let me just say, when Christy calls, Pastor Otis was right, you can't help but come. And when she called and she said it was about Perry, I ran. I am so excited. When I met him through Christy. And it was because the Tallahassee Lenders Consortium was working with Apalachee Ridge. And what was so unique was we were working with about a total of 8 neighborhoods, but Appalachee Ridge was first. And one of the best things is that we're a NeighborWorks America agency, and we have been given funding to do what we call a community impact survey. And it started even before I came to TLC in 2013. But it was done in 2013, and then back in 2017, we did the same survey. And the one thing that stood out in surveying all of the neighbors in that neighborhood was everybody loved their neighborhood. Everybody cared. Everybody had an opinion about garbage pickup, police, the ambulance, about one another, how they could serve each other in disaster. And what was really unique about the greater Appalachee Ridge neighborhood was the fact that they wanted to build a directory of businesses for the neighbors that lived in the neighborhood. So if you needed a mechanic, your mechanic was probably your neighbor. And that was so impressive. But what got better was we got to travel together. And I want you to realize how much Perry really loved his neighborhood. As a part of being a NeighborWorks agency, we got to participate in what we call community leadership institutes. And so we traveled to Kentucky. Yeah, let me tell you, we've been to Los Angeles, to Charlotte, Chicago, but we got to travel to Kentucky. And a group of 8 of us went, and we got to meet neighborhood leaders from all over this country. And they talked about their challenges, but also their successes. And when Perry and Christique would talk about the greater Appalachee Ridge neighborhood, do you know people listen? And so I too, at that time, they said, you know, he's been the president for a long time. And I was like, well, he must really love it if he's been that long. And I just want to say thank you for loving your neighbors. Thank you for caring about children. That is so hugely important because they are not just the generation of tomorrow, they are us today. And we set the example. And I just want to say that I think you have set the example for children in many ways, but you also set the example for your neighborhood. And you stood up and you stand out. So I celebrate your greatness today. And you know what? I think Dr. King would be a little proud of you. And this is something very special. I want you to know that it talks about another chapter. Now, I want you to know that even though you're giving up your position as president, it doesn't mean that you still can't work in the neighborhood. And I know Christique will love it, but please take this, just some gratitude, spend it on yourself and just have a good time. Thank you so much. All right, get the photo here.
Okay, Karen, wait.
Thank you.
All right, and so I think that we have exhausted all of the council of neighborhood associations. Leroy Peck sends his regards, and we know you served as a board member for the council of neighborhood associations for a brief moment, and so definitely he has something he wants to share with you, but that'll probably be at a subsequent meeting. So the embarrassment is not over, but we just want to let you know the legacy of 25 years as a neighborhood association president cannot go unhonored. I'm sorry, definitely not on my watch. So we definitely are going to continue to party. I would like to bring up our president. Not our president, our secretary of our Garena Neighborhood Association, the Greater Appalachia Ridge Neighborhood Association, Ms. Joyce Morgan, to just give kind of a brief organizational overview and ask any questions that you may have. And then following her will be Elton, who will go over kind of our trajectory right now in terms of giving. And then I will clean it up later with all of our initiatives that we currently have working in the neighborhood that we would love to get your involvement and engagement in. And then we will close it out with words from Dr. West. I call him Dr. West. And end our meeting this evening in fellowship and inspiration. Is that all right? Is that okay with everybody? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Joyce Morgan, and I am the secretary for the Greater Appalachia Ridge Neighborhood Estates Executive Board. I want to, once again, you know that Perry is our at-large member and will still be participating. Christine Henry is our president. Shauna Smith is our vice president. And Elton Thomas is our treasurer. The Greater Arena is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we're devoted to making a difference in the community. We're striving to provide the highest quality digital and educational programs that benefit all of the residents in the areas. And in not only in the Appalachia Ridge Estate neighborhood, but the surrounding areas, as you saw on the map. Our executive board meetings are held on the second Tuesday of each month. And a little bit about our Appalachia Ridge Estates Tech Center. It's a learning and resource center. It's located at 937 Kendall Street, and it's a 1,200-foot facility located on the corner of Kendall Street and Pontiac Drive. This facility is an innovative approach to bridging the digital and technology education divide within our community, as well as serving as home base for our ongoing neighborhood-driven advocacy and improvement efforts. And we talked about just trying to see what the community would like to do, how often you would like to meet. We're thinking about our Saturday meetings, starting back up with our new neighborhood Saturday meetings at either 10 or 11 o'clock. So we'd just like to have a show of hands as to the number of people who think 10 o'clock is the appropriate time or 11. So can we have a show of hands for people who think 10 o'clock is the appropriate time to meet on a Saturday? Yeah. How about 11 a.m.? Okay,
Like 11.
That's what we need, community input to find out if it was 10 or 11 o'clock, and we'll be getting the word out that our meetings will be held at 11 a.m. on our Saturdays. All right, thank you very much.
And now our treasurer, Mr. Elton Thomas, to give an update, just a general update of our financial standing as it regards partnerships and grants.
Good evening, everybody. One of the important aspects of being able to run the programs that we're trying to run is funding. And so I'm going to kind of list out some of those organizations that have been kind enough to assist our programs with funding. But just one thing before I do that, because earlier John Baker kind of mentioned some of the things that we accomplished under Perry's leadership. Well, he talked about the wall, but there was a few other things that we did. We did a lot of stuff in the neighborhood. When I moved in the neighborhood, we probably had 1 or 2 street lights on every block. Now we have street lights all up and down the block. We didn't have many fire hydrants. We have fire hydrants. We have the speed bumps in the streets now. Sidewalks. We didn't have sidewalks at the time. We did curb appeal, or I think you call them curb appeal grants that we were able to give neighbors during that time. John mentioned the wall, which was an eyesore and had other connotations. We've had our watch program, and then of course the Learning Center. So there was a lot of stuff accomplished in the early years of that program. We had a lot of people involved, and over time it kind of waned, but we're trying to reinvigorate the neighborhood. And one other thing I was always proud of is that through all of this, Apache Street, Jonetta, Apache Street always seemed to have the most neighbors that were at most of the meetings. Now, we all contributed, but I was proud because I'm an Apache Street resident. I had to throw that out there. Okay, so now I'm just going to give you a rundown because, like I said, as I said earlier, it takes money to run these things here. You have to build relationships with outside organizations to get funding. We've managed to do that over the years, and the last couple of years we've gotten some pretty nice funding. So the city of Tallahassee has contributed $10,000 annually since 2017. Figures Foundation, Figures Communication, he donated 17 Google Chrome desktop computers to the Learning Center. The Rotary Club of Tallahassee Southside, NBC, Comcast Universal Grants, $17,500 in 2021, $25,000 in 2022. The Comcast Lift Zone, free broadcast internet essential services at Appalachee Ridge Technology and Learning Center since 2008. I'm sorry, 2020. My watch is a little slow. The Knight Foundation, the Community Foundation of North Florida, gave us $50,000 Knight Community Foundation grant awarded in 2022. Leon County Cares gave us $20,000 for COVID nonprofit grant in the fall of 2021. The Beatitude Foundation gave us $2,000 in the Give TLH grant awarded in December of 2021. South City Foundation, NLC Micro Grant Initiative, that was $2,000 in 2020. And FSUS Restorative Beautification contributor, Dr. Stacy Chambers, the project to support for beautification replacement at the entrance and the signage area. So we're starting to attract good dollars going forward. We're starting to get the type of recognition and I guess, what's the word? Well, where people recognize us from outside. So we're starting to generate that. It's very important for us to get more community members involved again. The first meeting we had back in whatever that was, 97, 98, just before 2000, we had hundreds of people out there. And the neighborhood came out regularly. This is a new start for us. We're trying to reinvigorate what's going on. We need that same type of contribution. So that means that we're happy to see all the people that turned out today, but we all got to go home and pull one or two more people out and get them involved as well. Thank you.
And so with that being said, oh yeah, I saw how you brought his prize up here. Y'all saw that? Okay. Y'all didn't catch that. So with that being said, I'd like to recognize and bring up to the front our funders. If our executive team would join us at the front, Ms. Katrina Roll with the Community Foundation of North Florida, a very important partner moving forward as we do this work. Please come forward. Please give us a couple of remarks if you don't mind, as well as Ms. Stephanie Bowden. Why I keep calling you Bowden? What's your name? And we do have John Baker here with the city of Tallahassee with the grant that we get from them. And then if you would like to, Courtney, come up and just say a few words about the NLC grant. Let's go ahead and get some comments from our partners.
So good evening. Earlier this year, I had the opportunity to meet with Christy to talk about some of the things that she was involved in. And she told me about the great work that you guys are doing at the Technology and Learning Center. And I encouraged her to apply for a Knight Foundation grant. She did, and it resulted in $50,000 coming to help you with this effort. So congratulations. And I don't know, I mean, she was so excited when she was talking about it, and I said, I think this is aligned with what they're looking to fund. So this is something that you should consider, and boom, it happened. So thank you, Christine.
And thank you to the neighborhood, because without the work of the neighborhood,
Well-
I would not have had anything to work with to submit.
No, okay, so I did say thank you, Christine, but I know it takes a village.
Yes,
And I
ma'am.
know she didn't do it by herself. So, and I know she copied a lot of people in the email. But she submitted the application and when you guys got the award. So thank you, everybody.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Very important partner. And another, yes, please stay. And this young lady has been with us since this tech center was open. There's actually a picture, I tried to take a picture of it and bring it here, of her standing with some youth in our community back in 2017. They had just come from, I think, one of the first 2017, 07. They had just come from their first college tour, and Comcast was a sponsor of the program at that time at the tech center. So Comcast has been there, and Stephanie has been there for the tech center for a very long time. I know she looked like she started work when she was 12. So just want to give y'all a little bit of information, if you let them also know about the Internet Essentials and the information we have about that.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, she was dating me because I'm like, man, I'm young.
Yes, you are. Yes, we all are. Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Yes, I
baby.
celebrated
You are a baby.
17 years with Comcast in May, so this is exciting. But it is an honor to be here. It is an honor to work with your neighborhood association. I think some have already said when Krista calls, you know, you can't say no to her. And I know when I reach out to her and say, I have an opportunity for you, but she knows I'm last minute, an opportunity speaks, she jumps on it, she will figure out a way to work that money into the system and get a grant application completed. But as we all know, the pandemic hit, it showed how important access to internet was. It's critical to have access in your homes, in your businesses. And that is why Comcast created Project Up, which is a 10-year, $1 billion investment to help advance digital equity, connect people, as well as to build unlimited possibilities for individuals. As it was mentioned, we have our Internet Essentials program, and during the pandemic, we celebrated our 10-year anniversary for Internet Essentials. We started Internet Essentials back in 2011, and the focus was to help bridge the digital divide. At that time, we learned that there were a lot of individuals that were not aware of how important having internet access was in their homes. And there was also the constraint of the cost of having internet. So we started Internet Essentials, which was at $9.95 per month plus tax, and that was providing internet service to families that had some type of income constraint. Since then, the program has grown. We have advanced as far as who qualifies for the program. So currently, anyone that receives government assistance. We have also advanced the speeds. Another thing that we did during the pandemic, we added a second tier, which is $29.95, and that's for 100 meg speed. We are also partnering with the federal government right now, and this is big, I cannot say it enough. We are partnering with the federal government for the Affordable Connectivity Program. The federal government has billions of dollars invested in this program, and they are currently providing up to $30 per month to go towards individuals' internet service as well as their mobile service. Comcast Xfinity is one of those providers that are partnering with the FCC on that. And what that means, if you sign up for Internet Essentials, either the $9.95, the $29.95, you apply for the Affordable Connectivity Program, you qualify, that $30 or up to $30 will be applied towards your internet bill, meaning there is no cost to internet services for you. Based on the amount of funding that they have, this credit is going to be in place for about 5 years. FCC is currently saying that this program is underutilized, which means people are not signing up. We need to get the word out. We need to let individuals know about this program. This will be a relief in the pocketbooks of many individuals so that they do not have to worry about that internet expense. And as I mentioned, it is both internet and mobile. So we have programs in place that can help people get unlimited mobile service as well as internet at a very low cost to help them out. In addition, we have created lift zones in our communities. Tallahassee is currently home to 9 lift zones. These are safe places where students, families, individuals can go to and get access to internet. So the center is, for instance, one of the 9 locations here in Tallahassee where they can get access to free internet in the home. This is a gig internet speed that Comcast is providing as a courtesy to help those in our community. And we started, of course, with the focus knowing students were going to school virtually. So not only is it benefiting the students, it's benefiting adults. Adults can do telehealth, check their bills, you name it, they will have access to internet. Last, I would like to mention that we also created the Comcast RISE program. RISE stands for Representation, Investment, Strength, and Empowerment. And the purpose of this program is to help our small businesses. We saw how much our small businesses were being impacted during the pandemic, and Comcast wanted to provide a resource to them to help them get on their feet. So under the Comcast RISE program, we are providing marketing, technology, as well as financial investment into these businesses to help them out. So if you are not aware of it, please look into this program and see how you could benefit from the services that Comcast are providing. Again, thank you, honored to be here, and yeah, I guess that's it.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Courtney Atkins, Executive Director of South City Foundation, and the grant I'm going to talk about that we were able to provide for Appalachia Ridge would not be possible without the Community Foundation and Katrina Roll and Christique, who was on the South City Foundation board. The foundation, we were designated a purpose-built community in 2019, and for those of you that don't know much about the model of purpose-built, it's really about working side by side with residents to transform the community with the priorities that they want to see happen. And that's done kind of through three pillars. And one is a cradle to career education pipeline, affordable housing, and health and wellness that is beyond, connecting people to a clinic or making sure everybody has health insurance. It's about reducing crime, green space, connectivity to our neighbors, community engagement. And so through a grant with the Knight Foundation, the Community Foundation of North Florida, we were able to provide many grants to our collar neighborhoods of South City. And this was really Christique's brainchild of we're stronger together as a community. So if neighborhoods can join one another, convene, stay in touch with each other about what's happening in their neighborhood, what needs of their neighborhood, we're stronger together. So we were able to give many grants 2 years in a row, $1,000 each to our 8 or 11 collar neighborhoods for anything they wanted to do. It could be a cookout to convene their neighbors. It could be a beautification project. So we were able to provide that for Appalachia Ridge. They're one of the neighborhood leadership council members, and we're just thrilled that it wouldn't have happened without these ladies here. And I want to give an acknowledgement to my colleague in the back, Nicole Multimore. She's our community engagement specialist. She has been part of our tech hub that we were able to secure a grant through Stephanie and Comcast to provide connectivity to residents in the South City neighborhood. We've lost that home with the demolition and redevelopment of the Orange Avenue apartments, but we're looking hard for a new home and to get started back up again soon. But it's wonderful to be here. Congratulations to Perry West for all that you've done over the years. You're certainly an icon in this community. So thank you for having me.
So, as you're looking at all of these warrior women up here, right? Not to exclude you men. But there's a great symbiosis of energy that has to happen within the community to fulfill its greater mandate. We have a lot of initiatives. We have a lot of programs. Our goal is to be a digital equity hub for Tallahassee's South Side and everything that entails. And if I have any strength in my little finger left, that is going to happen. So when we look at our map of 1001, 1002, when we look at the 3 points that are all around there, we know that there are over 5,700 homes that are right within the trajectory of the impact of this tech hub. But 5,700 people can't fit the tech hub. You can only get 12 on the computer, and the fire department don't let you have 30. So that means that the technology has to get outside the hubs and into the what? Home. Let's say it again, outside the hubs and into the what? Home. So that means the work partnerships together is not to build a kingdom for ourselves in community. It is to build a place where people can come and take it home, all right? That's what we have to do. And so these partners up here, there's enough goddamn people in this city to do enough. We are not fighting. We do not compete for impact. We partner for impact. And so to the extent that we can partner for impact, we will begin to see the data that shows that we are doing what we call equity in practice. That means that we are practicing equity. We're not just talking about it. We're not just getting definitions. We can see people being included. We can see them being resourced. And we can see their lives improve. I'm breathing. The example we have of Perry West, who I hope will come up here right now and close us out, is that love is everything. Love is absolutely everything. A quiet, confident, know who they are, so not intimidated by you love that transcends anything and can inform you and correct you at the same time and still make you feel like you're doing something. That's what we need. Somebody said earlier about relationship. We don't get there without trust and relationship. 5,700 homes within the direct trajectory of this community, that the Appalachia Ridge community and its neighbors and sister neighborhoods around, we plan to do it. We invite all y'all on Facebook and everybody here to join this movement. We will be going door to door. We will be going door to door in this whole area, and people will know what we have in that community is for them too. So with that being said, thank you all for being here this evening. Dr. West, if you will come in and close us on out.
I am humbled. I was trying by all my hardest not to shed some tears, but as I got older, I found I'm a more emotional kind of man. But I'm humbled. I'm grateful. I remember starting out and going door to door. I have my boys with me. I have my first soldiers going door to door, trying to do the best that I could to demonstrate that love that Christy talked about. I'd rather show you that I love you as opposed just to tell you that I love you. And that's been kind of one of my things. That's been kind of one of the driving forces of how I work, how I do, because of my commitment to wanting not only just my life better, but those that are around me much better. And so it does my heart good to see all you all tonight, all the partners, everybody that has stuck with us and with Appalachia Ridge throughout the years. Things have waned a little bit, but we know, and I know, to kind of embark upon or share some of the words of Dr. King. I have a dream that one day Appalachia Ridge is going to stand tall in Tallahassee as the leader we know that they are. And so I'm grateful again to all of my, that's just hung in there with me. Joyce, Elton, Shauna, everybody that has stuck with us. And Christy for just pushing, and she is a pusher. She can motivate you. But I'm appreciative. I really, really am. And I thank God for to God be all the glory. And I'm thankful. You know, it started out, I thought this meeting was going to turn into a church service. But as we talk and as we share with our neighbors, you know, sometimes in church, you know, when the pastor gets kind of feeling himself, he'll say, neighbor, give your neighbor a high five. But what I want us to do as a neighbor, say, neighbor, give your neighbor a hand. And let's walk this thing together. Let's do what we can together. And that's how we're going to grow. That's how we're going to become powerful and be the neighborhood driven in this purpose that we have here in Appalachia Ridge. So again, I thank you. Thank you for all of your accolades. Again, I'm just giving all the credit to God and all the credit to my family for putting up with me. And again, all of my partners, thank you all for being there. Thank you.
Yeah. Absolutely. And the executive team, if y'all come up, I think Brother West said that we are all adjourned. And we thank thank y'all for joining us, but we invite y'all to continue to be with us on this journey. It's gonna be awesome.
It's not over. I'm a member at large, so y'all still gonna see me.
That's
Y'all
right.
still gonna hear me.
That's right.
All right.
All right. Thank y'all so much for being here and have a great night. Okay.